And what I'm standing here is on ancient sand dune deposits that we geologists call the Wingate sandstone. If you look right behind me on the side of this little ridge here, you'll see the different coloration from going from light color to pink color. Each one of these narrow layers represents what we call paleosols. These are old soil development that were on dune systems that developed on dunes. And then later on, the dunes came through them, buried them, and then they became fossilized. And now they're fossilized dunes and fossilized old soil horizons. If you look in the distance there, you can see probably the best section of Jurassic age rocks on the reservation, if not the southwest. Right up above the Jurassic section is the Cretaceous section called the Nanka Shale, which is an old ancient seabed. If you look way in the distance, that's Shiprock Peak, or what we call a Shiprock diatreme. It's probably like about 29 million years in age. It's a mixture of igneous rocks that were pushed up from the bottom, and what was brought up along with it were all these rocks that were way down deep below. All these basement rocks from deep down inside the earth is mixing with all that, the core of Shiprock. And so the ancient seaway buried the whole thing, and it slowly started eroding, and then what we see is the eroded future of what was once the volcanic neck of an old ancient fossilized volcano. In Navajo stories, we have a lot of stories related to Shiprock. One story recalls how the Navajo people of this area came from another dimension, from another world, from outer space, and some say from another country. They rode a huge bird, and this bird had come down to here and it crash landed right at that setting. And that's why one of the Navajo names that we give Shiprock is Tevitai, which means rock with wings. You can see the central core of Shiprock. The middle portion of it is what we think is the tail wing. And then we have two radiating dikes that go southward and then one going westward. And those are what you would consider like the wings of the giant bird that crashed down into that earth there. And then later on, when the Navajos returned from when they came up from the third world onto the fourth world, we had all these monsters that were born. Monsters that were devouring the early surface humans, that were devouring the early holy people that were here. So the hero twins, Monster Slayer, with the help of Spider Woman, climbed to the very top of Shiprock Peak. Monster Slayer hid up there for a number of hours and possibly days, waiting for the female and the male monster bird to return to their nests. And as both monster birds returned to their nests, he ended up killing both birds. And you can see the dark streak where the shadow is at on one side of Shiprock. They think that's the blood of the giant bird coming down the side of that rock and hardening up and turning to that darkish color. And what was left behind were all these hatchlings, like all these little chicklets of the monster birds. There was all these small baby birds that are sitting in the nest along with Monster Slayer. They began to beg for their lives, and so they were allowed to live. And when they were allowed to live, that's when they were released, and they became like hawks, eagles, owls, and other types of raptors like falcons. And so one of the deals that we make with these raptors is if they get released and they're allowed to live, we get to use their feathers, we get to use their like their beaks and their gallstones and other parts of their body that we might need for ceremonialism, or we might need for like medicinal properties or protection plants.